Why is suffering? I think what she's trying to ask is, why is there suffering in life? That's a deep philosophical question, but a question that's relevant to all of us. Why is there suffering in life? Now, to answer that question, let's first clarify what is suffering. Suffering is pain, right? The sensation of pain, which doesn't have to be physical pain by banging your hand over here or something. It could be psychological pain, it could be spiritual pain. Pain which is non-physical generally comes from loss. When you lose something, say you're 12 years old, you've lived 12 years on the planet and everything is nice and it's your childhood is generally happy if you have good parents and so on, so everything is well and good. You live in your house and you go to school and you go to the garden to play or the park to play and you have video games and whatnot. You have some nice friends, hopefully. So it's a nice, happy childhood. Now, the same person, when you're 25, you're out of school, college, university, you're now working. Your childhood is a thing of the past. You may have moved to a different city. You no longer see your parents regularly. You've lost touch with many of your friends because they're also all working. You've experienced some loss. It gives you some sadness that now I have to work now for a living, and I'm no longer able to enjoy the life I had just a few years ago. Sense of loss there. Now, let's say you're in your 40s, you are completely disconnected with your friends. Maybe you're married or whatever, maybe you have a kid or kids. At some point in time in your life, you will lose your parents. That is a shattering loss, shattering, gut wrenching, horrible, the worst sensation you can have, but everybody will go through that. You're gonna it's bound to happen. You lose that. You feel adrift. The two people who always took care of you, who you could always rely on, are gone. You feel lost. That is, well, that's an example of suffering. By the time you're in 50s, the world has changed. The kind of movies you used to watch no longer exist. You can only see them in archival footage. Today's movies, you don't understand. Very different sensibilities. The music you used to enjoy as a kid, very different music today. The kids, the youngsters of today, you can't understand them. You can't relate to them. The old world you've lost. Maybe the place where you grew up, the home, the neighborhood, it has been redeveloped. Your home has been pulled down, bulldozed. The whole neighborhood is gone, and maybe now you have apartment complexes there. You can't even recognize the place anymore. The world, the physical world of your childhood has been bulldozed. That's pain. That's loss. Now you're in your 60s and 70s. Many of your friends have died. The people who you grew up with, they no longer exist. Then you're in your 80s. Almost nothing of your childhood and of your adult life exists anymore. You have very few people that you can connect with, mostly people of your age. So much loss. All of this is suffering. Change is suffering. Loss is suffering. That's why life is suffering. And it's inevitable. Every single person goes through this. So that's why life is suffering. But it's up to you how to deal with it. It is inevitable that every person who lives to a certain age will go through all these things. So, does it mean that there's no point in life and it's only pain and suffering? No, it's not like that. You know it's going to happen to you. You know everybody goes through this. So, you prepared for it mentally, and you still need to find meaning in life by doing things, by connecting with people, by aligning with people, by making friends, by creating things for society, by creating value for society. So, yes, you will experience loss over and over, but you also create value when you find meaning in creating good things for society and providing value to society. And at the end of the day, if on your last day, when the last day comes, and by the time you have provided more value to society than you've taken from it, from society, then I think you've lived a good life. So that's just the nature of life. And yeah, it is suffering. You do suffer, it's painful, but there's a lot of happiness and joy depending on the choices you make and the actions that you undertake. So you can see it two sides of the same coin. You can see it positively, you can see it negatively, but it is what it is. So the amount of pleasure and joy and happiness or pain that you experience in life, some of it is you can't change, but a lot of it is entirely up to you and your attitude and how you approach life.